my name is Donna Dorzinski. I'm with Just-in-Time GCP, and I do work in regulatory compliance, auditing, and TMF management. I was in pharma for 15 years, big pharma, working in operations, and have spent the last 12 years doing consulting with mid-sized small pharma companies, sponsors, CROs, and investigator sites. So I definitely have a large focus in TMF. I was part of the reference model group that published version 3, and I've been involved with the milestone working groups and the infection readiness working groups and the quality working groups. So we've done quite a bit of work post the release of version 3 of the reference model. The objectives for this session are to talk about the value of the reference model when you organize your audit, that until just allow you to do a more efficient identification of GCP noncompliance. We'll talk about strategies for conducting your audit that allow you to basically, when you use an eTMF, it just makes it so much easier to do your audit. And then lastly, we'll talk about some auditing strategies that allow you to focus on what I call artifacts that impact quality. So I call them high-risk artifacts. And it's really, the focus is on the GCP compliance aspect as opposed to more the completeness aspect of reviewing a TMF. So that's a little bit about me. So I just want to start by talking about the definition of a TMF. It is definitely a standalone set of documentation, so it really should be able to stand independent of the people that conducted the activities. I like to say that your TMF tells the story of what happened during your study. And so basically you write chapter by chapter to come up with a story of your TMF. It's a collection of documentation that reflects the integrity of your trial data, and it should demonstrate that the trial was conducted in compliance with GCP. This output, this collective output of content, allows the regulator to evaluate your study, and one, do I have data integrity? And two, was the study conducted in compliance with the protocol and all of the other GCP compliant requirements? TMF is a group of content that comes from multiple functional areas. Now, both of you are from the clinical group, so certainly clinical is a key provider of content for the TMF, but the TMF goes well beyond just clinical component. And that's something that sometimes has gotten missed historically, that we have content coming from data management and biostats and your clinical trial material group and safety. All of those groups contribute content to TMF. Current regulatory requirements are looking for a well-defined content list that helps you identify what should be in your TMF. So they're looking for an index or some type of a structure that says this is what goes into the TMF. They're looking for organizations to have a comprehensive TMF management process that really starts with kickoff. So at the very start of the study, we've already started creating what's our process going to be for how we manage the TMF. And then that whole process needs to carry you through, all the way through the study, compliance in terms of completeness of your TMF till the very end when you're archiving your TMF. So really it's a whole life cycle, if you will, of involvement that the TMF has in the study. So really, it starts with hello and ends with goodbye, if you will. It starts with that kickoff meeting and ends with drug destruction. And so everything in between needs to go into your TMF. And lastly, regulatory agencies today expect you to be inspection ready at all times. So FDA is a little bit more consistent with how things used to be done in the past. You're going to most likely get inspected with your files. They don't generally do unannounced inspections, but they definitely are going to be, they don't generally do a, quote, routine GCP inspection of a sponsor. EMA, MHRA, they do routine inspections, and they will do inspections as soon as you're active in a country. They won't wait until you've done a file. They'll start when you become active with the country. So once the study's active in the country, you are at risk for an EMA and MHRA inspection. And MHRA does do routine inspections, routine GCP inspections. So I'll talk today about all three, those because they're kind of the core agencies that most trials today are working under. In the past, when we did our TMF audit, we did an audit of the CRO's TMF at the end of the study. So the study's done, so now I'm going to go out and I'm going to audit the TMF. And it was really, historically, we tried to use it as a process for making sure that TMF was complete. It wasn't always a good way because in order to really decide if your TMF is complete, it can take you weeks, months to go through all the content. So really, it was kind of like a flyby to say, hey, is everything I think need to be here, is it here? And so it really wasn't intended to look at the TMF management process, but more a completeness review. We looked at some of the core files, we looked at a couple of sites, and oftentimes we based it on the essential documents. We didn't even really base it on what we consider today to be our TMF. As long as those essential documents were there, we'd say, okay, yeah, it's complete, let's bring it in-house.